This is Annette Jouy, and we are working on blouse style lines. So we just cut and separated and made this an umpire style line. We're shearing 4 inches down to 2 3/4, and we're going to stick these back together. This has seam allowance. This doesn't. But before we do that, maybe our design does not require these 2 darts. There are numerous ways of getting rid of them. This could be turned into a princess seam. We could take a little bit off the outside edge. So let's see what we could do. Also too, if you have an umpire seam in the front, let's make sure that we translate and put an umpire seam in the back as well. So with these darts right now, you could just get rid of 1 dart. This is 1/4 of an inch up here at the top. So on this style line, I'm going to come in 1/4 and mark it. And then this down here is 1/2 of an inch. I could bring this in 1/2 of an inch or just 1/4 and give it a little bit of more of a relaxed fit. I could take off 1/4 and blend that hip back, turning this into that with a more of a relaxed fit. I could also turn both of those into darts. Princess seams into darts. So let's go ahead and turn this dart, into a princess seam. Let's go ahead and draw a line right down the middle. And let's shape it with the curve rule. You can bring it down farther than the dart. And you can curve it too at the waist. Then we could go ahead and provide some notches. And we can cut and separate our newly created princess seam and then put seam allowance on both sides. I use single notches because that denotes front. And we've trimmed away the dart. Then we would put seam allowance on both sides, 1/2 inch, match our notches, and now we have a princess seam instead of a dart. Here we took the dart off the side, but you could have 2 princess seams. You need to also put the 1/2 inch seam allowance at the top and do whatever else you're doing for your design. So we've eliminated a dart, we've made a princess seam, we have added some shearing, we've opened up a neckline, and those are a lot of changes that you can do to a design. Let's just make sure though, when you're dealing with the back, that you haven't forgotten it. So here's my back, and I did fix the hem, and I opened the neckline. So I brought forward 2 corrections. But here's the umpire style line, and I have not brought that forward to the back. So let's go ahead, I'm going to tape this back together along our newly created princess seam. This doesn't have seam allowance yet, so just tape it back together. That's what we've taken out. And I'm going to line this up here on the side seam. And I'm going to show myself right where the style line from the front meets the back. It meets it right there. Okay? That's that umpire line. From front to back. I've marked it off. Now, you could have a curved line that goes up in the front and the back, right? 2 curved lines. But I find it more attractive if you flip the line and you have the back curving down. So go ahead and place that pattern piece from the front parallel to the center back and copy off that style line. Now you have an Empire style line that you've translated all the way to the back, but it's curving down. So we curve up in the front and down in the back. That's sort of how our style lines would look together. This is curving down and then up in the front. Looks very attractive. Okay. And we mark the length. And then I went ahead and I flipped it so we could use that same style line. So now we can go ahead and cut and separate here. And you can sew darts in the back or turn that into a little bit of shirring in the back if you'd like. And then also these could turn into princess seams as well. Or you could turn it into some pleats or some fullness. So here in the back, we'll go ahead and do something different. I'm going to draw slash lines all the way to the hem. This is my side seam right here. This is the hem. And that's that center back line. So I went ahead and I drew some slash lines. And this is another way to deal with your darts. I can take them and completely overlap them. And because this is an Empire line in the back, I actually got rid of that dart. It's now lined up dart leg on top of dart leg. And I might have added a little bit of fullness right through there by closing it, maybe about a 1/2 inch, but I still completely got rid of it. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's slash down the middle, all the way to the hem, and I'm going to close that dart. I'm going to take the dart leg and put the other dart leg directly on top of it, dart leg to dart leg at that Empire style line, and I'm going to match the hem at the bottom so I don't increase the hem. This is just my style. So now this is the length it needs to be able to sew to the top piece, but it's a little bit wider through the waist, a little bit more of a relaxed fit, and we have gotten rid of darts in the lower back. You can do that in the front. Many different ways to handle things. And this still sews to this. Okay, we jump over that little dart. Here we go, jump over that little dart. It's exactly the same length. This is my lower back now, and I have eliminated those darts. There's no darts now. Now, something else we could do too is, instead of having this meet at 0 in the back, you could flare it and have a back that flares out. You could add 2 inches of paper here and blend it, and add another 2 inches of spread here and blend that too. That's another option. You can make a back that floats out. Okay, and then here at the top, these darts, another decision, could just be made into tucks, where they don't have a tip, but you could decide to make them into a little tuck, which you could stitch in the seam allowance, like so, and it be also a more relaxed fit, but still go in at that Empire waist. So we could just tuck or pleat where the dart is and not use the top. You give a little arrow as far as what direction. So there's many options on your Empire tops, front and back, style lines, opening the necklines. This is Annette Julie, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Au revoir.